I ask for the truth on behalf of Victorya Fennell concerning these issues that she's going through right now. What's actually going on? What's it all about? And I ask this in the name of truth, right conduct, peace, love, and non-violence. Blessed be to the crow, the carrier of souls from darkness into light. And we just neaten the old deck there up, the old tarot deck, and just place it just to the side here. Something about fiancés being absent for a while and things being hard and all this, and what's going on here. I thought I'd use the tarot instead of the usual haunt that I tend to get addicted to. It's usually the simplest of things you get addicted to, isn't it, normally? We don't go into that. What we'll do 3 cards, just basic 3 cards, beginning, middle and end, in the sense of past, present and future. In this particular scenario, the past, the present and the future, of course the present remains the same, doesn't it? The past, I usually say about a moon phase behind and a moon phase in front. So it's like 27 days either side, isn't it? So it's the recent past influence and the immediate future influence with you just in the middle there, around about now. So let's just take a look and see what we've got here. Of course, with there being a question, it's sort of like a relationshipy sort of, financy sort of, that sort of question, isn't it? With there being some sort of question attached to it, you can sort of find an answer, can't you? And then use the meaning of each card, or the interpretation of each card, to sort of come to some sort of answer or conclusion, or whatever you want to call it. Of course, each card has an interpretation, a meaning. I tend to call each card an angel, so you're not like it's just a messenger of hopes or fears, or whatever you want to call it. Say the first card, for example, that's in the position of the recent past. So the meaning of that card, or interpretation of that card, would be relevant to the recent past, wouldn't it? And of course, with the question that you've asked, it'll be relevant to that as well. So you find that connection as well. Let's just flip that card nice and slow now, not to disturb the energy or anything like that. Let's just see what that card is. And as you can see there, you've got the 7 of coins, or as Crowley calls it, the 7 of discs. 7 is, the number 7 is often related to weakness, because you have the 5 of the lost, the analysis of the 6, the weakness of the 7 prior to the challenge of the 8, and then the peak of the 9, don't you? So you could say, in that regard, Crowley refers to it as the Lord of Failure. In this deck, though, the Crow's Magic Tarot by London Marks tends to focus on the karmic, what you put out comes back on you, and all that sort of thing. The sowing, what you sow, so shall you reap. It's got a touch of Taurus attached to it there. Notice that you could say, of course, just recently with Taurus or anything, with Taurus, of course, if they don't get what they want, they can be a bit like a raging bull, can't they? If you get what I mean. So maybe there's been something there, I don't know. But it seems as if it has been like what you sow, so shall you reap. What you put out, so shall it come back on you. I suppose you could say, well, if I put out depression and I put out feeling sorry for myself, pity party and all that kind of business, then I'm going to sort of reap the reward of that, aren't we? And aren't I? I'm going to sort of reap that reward and sort of everybody say, oh yeah, here we go again, you know, feeling sorry for yourself again, you know, thinking you're the only one who's ever got a problem or ever had a problem. And you sort of got this, don't you, mate? maybe you've just recently paid the karma for something or other. Like I say, you said it's been a bit hard, of course, with your fiance being absent for a long period of time or whatever. So things have been a bit difficult there, but of course, what you put out comes back on you in that sense, doesn't it? What goes around comes around, they often say, don't they? But in this case, yes, I suppose you could focus on the Crowley interpretation, the Lord of Failure, in the sense that maybe that's how you've perceived it, as a failure. Because 7 is weakness. Remember, coins or discs or whatever you want to call it, pentacles is often called pentacles, isn't it? That is related to the element of earth. So you could really say, in a way, because any number between 4 and 9, that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, those numbers are linked to the element of water, you could say the watery part of earth, couldn't you? In the sense of mental and moral qualities of the physical vehicle. And I suppose what goes around comes around. It's been very much karmic, I would say. Between now and this time last month, you know, the past 4 or 5 weeks or so ago, between now and like the last 3, 4, 5 weeks or so, it's been more of just you know, what goes around comes around sort of thing. What you put out comes back on you. And maybe if you've been viewing things negatively, or you've been seeing the negative side in everything because you can't see the positive, then you'll attract negativity. Now, there's all people, I know people who don't believe in that. And if you think logically, you shouldn't have to believe in that because things just happen. But when you do think about it hard enough, though, if you do sort of think negative enough, you are going to attract some sort of negativity in some form or other. That's what I think. I'm trying to think logically as well as just believing in whatever you believe in. Because you're not going to win on the lottery if you never buy a ticket. No, I won't win this week, why bother buying a ticket? You know, and one thing leads to another, so it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Maybe that's what that is. Maybe there has been a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy there for you there, and that's probably what it is. But whereabouts are you now? Of course, you can't define yourself by what you were or what you did in the past, but you can certainly define yourself by what you're doing now, can't you? Let's just see what energy we've got there right now, and see if we can investigate this one. As we said there, just rotate, flip the card. There you go. You see the five of cups. Cups is to do with water, to do with feelings, to do with emotions and things. And 5 is loss. Remember, it's a number between 4 and 9. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So it's still the watery part of water, isn't it? In this case, though, it's loss. 5 is often is linked to loss, where there's been like an earthly weakness, or 7 is weakness. It was like a weakness on the earth just recently. This has manifested itself into like an emotional loss or whatever. Crowley calls the 5 of Cups the Lord of Disappointment, and this tends to sort of focus on that theme, doesn't it? In a way, it just focuses on the distance that you've become distanced, I suppose, from whatever it is that's been going on. Maybe you become distanced to your fiance because he's been away for so long. And yet on the other hand, you'd think that absence would make the heart grow fonder, wouldn't you? You often hear that said, don't you? So there's 2 ways of viewing it, really. But it appears as though, yes, right now, from the disappointment side of it, of course, you've been distanced in that way. Maybe you just feel let down by what's happened, because instead of expecting some sort of reward, you've simply received what you've put out, or the sort of results of whatever you put out has sort of karmically come back on you, and you were expecting just something a bit more. I suppose, just like they say, be careful what you wish for. You could also you could also sort of don't get your hopes don't get your hopes up too much, and because you'll only be let down. But then again, that could be promoting pessimistic sort of negative sort of way of thinking. Maybe that's part of the negativity that you've been attracting, or something like that, in the sense of, well, I'll never win on the lottery, so I won't buy a ticket. Well, that'll never happen, so why bother investing in it, or why bother doing that if I'll never meet anybody nice, so why bother socialising? It's that sort of thing, isn't it? And one thing leads to another, and you just become distanced, and there's an ether between you and them, and you're out on your own, aren't you? Although you could see this planet here with a satellite like a moon going around it, nevertheless, both bodies are really sort of still in solitude, aren't they? There's no sort of, there's no point to exist, or no reason for existence, but certainly that's all they're doing is existing. But either way, maybe that's what you feel. I just feel as if I'm existing right now. I've just got back what I've sown. I'm reaping what I've sown. But that depends, of course, what it is you've sown. That depends what you've put out, of course. If you put out negativity, you'll get negativity back. Of course, that usually, I suppose, you could do a read into that as if, well, if I do bad to somebody else, something bad will happen to me. But nevertheless, it's not about doing bad to others. It's about, if you do bad to yourself, it'll still come back on you. So what have you been doing to yourself? This is an interesting question, isn't it? But what will happen in the immediate future? Remember, these two cards here, you've got the seven of coins and the five of cups. They are what you call minor arcana cards, because they're part of the minor arcana. You've got the major 22 arcana, which is like the esoteric tarot, and they're usually more permanent. You can't really change anything. But with minor arcana cards, you can. Minor arcana energies you can change. So you have the power to change it then, and you still have the power to change it now. Do you have the power to change it between now and this time next month, say, sort of between now and mid-January, or sort of latish January? So major arcana card? No. But you've got the magician. The magician is, of course, sorcery and alchemy. Bit of Aquarius attached to that. But the magician is the witch at the altar, isn't he? He's got power over the air, fire, water and earth. And it's got power over the elements, so it's sort of control, isn't it, really? Maybe it's showing that for as much as you won't have much sort of control, you won't be able to change anything between now and this, sort of like this time next month. Nevertheless, you will have sort of acquired some control over the situation. You will have got a grip of it, if you get what I mean. And of course, notice the eagle there, and the eagle is to do with spirit, and of course, listening to your higher self is another thing that's helpful, isn't it? So that in itself can sort of donate something toward the cause. So regardless of this karmic activity going on just recently, manifesting itself right now in disappointment because you didn't get what you expected, maybe by just not expecting anything and just trying to get a grip and getting control of what is happening now, you will manifest something positive, or anything positive that does come from that, well, you'll probably perceive it, or it will be sort of felt stronger because you were being positive. But how can you be positive? There's so much negativity, of course. well, there's so much disappointment and knowing that things are just about to go wrong again, what's the point, you know? But this, of course, is you've got to believe in yourself, haven't you? A bit like the Buddhists say, if you don't believe in anything, if you don't believe in God or Santa Claus or the flying spaghetti monster, you still have to believe in something. So believe in yourself, and that's the main thing, isn't it? If you can just believe in yourself and just have some faith in that, that would help. Well, I'm hard up and I don't know what I'm going to do there. Well, you can join the club there, because you remember, you're not the only one, remember, so you have to bear that fact. I'm not the only one, so you know, strength lies in numbers, doesn't it, I suppose, in that regards. But nevertheless, I somehow want to pull another card, and I don't know why, because we've done a past, present and future. No, I won't pull another card at all. I'm not going to pull another card, I've changed my mind. As bad as you. I'm going to pull out 3 runes, and what we're going to do is put 3 runes on each card and see what happens. See how if they marry up, if they link up in any way. Normally with the rune cast, you cast the runes forward, don't you? Because time moves forward and it goes, and now anything to the left is internal, anything to the right is external, and the middle is sort of central. But this, we just draw a few. And then we just draw 3. The first rune then, we'll just pop down on the past. Remember the karmic? There's an interesting one. Jira there, look here. Like the year of good harvest or whatever. So regardless of this karma, remember karma can work both ways, can't it? What you sow, so shall you reap. And you've got Jira, the year of good harvest. So maybe the harvest may have not been as bad as you thought. And you just try to sort of, I mean, we never got enough money, we never live in the right place we want to live, we never have the right neighbours we want, we never marry the one we want, we never, you know, you never get what you want, you always get what you need, don't you, to some degree. And I suppose really with that, yes, there was a good harvest really, just recently. It's saying actually things weren't that bad, although what you put out came back on you, things weren't that bad regardless of. Maybe you were being negative about it. What's the cause of the disappointment? What energy surrounding the disappointment and the letdown and the emotional loss, or the certainly the distance? Yes, ice there, but like ice when water flows, it freezes over, and then when it thaws out again, it carries on flowing again. It's like a delay, isn't it? And right now that'd sort of justify that, wouldn't it? In the sense that yes, the letdown, disappointment, because of delay. That's what's causing that disappointment. Things seem a bit stagnant at the moment, seem a bit frozen, literally, I suppose, in that metaphorical regard. The Magician, of course, we noticed how you were going to get a grip, how you were going to get control again of air, fire, water, earth, of all the elements within the situation. What's all this? You've got the Haglaz there, the hail, storm there, disruption there. Maybe the disruption that's due just around the corner, maybe, although you've got no control over that, you won't be able to change anything, the magic that you can use, the self-belief, as you would call it, the faith in oneself. Faith is when belief becomes knowledge. It's not just wishful thinking anymore, it's knowledge. And that's what magic is, isn't it? When you do a ritual or cast a spell, say a prayer, as you'd call it, or whatever, it's not just wishing that it'll happen or hoping that it'll happen, it's knowing that it will happen because of. And it's when that faith is, of course, when belief becomes knowledge, and it's that will save you. Yes, there's disruption to come. Nobody's going to say it's going to be easy, because the thing, the ice thawing out, or the situation, the delay sort of speeding up again, but means you've got to get control of the situation, you've got to get a grip, you've got to do the alchemy, you've got to do the sorcery, maybe do the magic, maybe you've got to do a ritual. Because of the disruption that's to come just around the corner, you've got to do some magic to protect yourself. And the eagle can protect yourself by trusting in your higher self. That can protect you throughout. So maybe it's just protection that you're after, just whilst you ride out the storm, as they say. So maybe that's what it is. There's just a bit of a delay at the minute. You've just got to ride out the storm. They always say things get worse before they get better, and I think that's what's going to happen here, in the sense of not a good start to the year, but it gets better, I'm sure. Because remember, you have to also remember that the thing about the king who had a ring made by some wise man or whatever, and on the ring, I had one engraved actually, silver ring engraved with the same thing. This too shall pass. It means that really, when you're going through the good times, don't take it for granted because it won't last. But also, if you're going through the bad times, this too shall pass, and also good times are ahead. So don't take it for granted when good times are happening, and then you won't be disappointed there if you see that link there. Maybe that's what's happened. Although the karmic sort of reward that you had just recently wasn't as bad as you thought it might have been. Because when you're riding out the next storm, you'll realise that. But that's the lesson, isn't it? And that's how we grow spiritually as well. And maybe absence may make the heart grow fonder as well, with his lordship there, with the fiancée, and maybe that's that alone. I suppose a lot of questions are still to be answered because it's your private life, and we don't want to sort of put out the bloody dirty washing, do we, on the washing line there. That's but it's the storyline. You know the truth, because this is the truth, isn't it? And for now, we say blessed be to Odin, and also remember that these cards have now spoken.